This happened over 25 years ago, but the memories are still fresh on my mind. I moved in with my boyfriend, who was a musician, and it wasn't working out at that time. Our budget was small, so when we were offered super cheap rent for a decent-looking house, we jumped at that opportunity. It should have been a red flag at that time, but we were in no position to refuse. It was far from the city center, and it was spacious on the outside. There were minimum amount of furniture, and we lived quite the frugal life, but we were happy with what we got. The house was simple but cozy and nice. There was a shed in the backyard with no windows, but only a wooden chair in the middle of the room. Needless to say, it was indeed creepy, so I avoided the part of the house. While my boyfriend was working at his music school, I took care of everything at the house. In the beginning, everything was fine. I felt happy there, but after a few weeks, weird things started happening. One day, I put some of the cans and ingredients on the kitchen table while I was cooking. However, when I turned around to grab them, they weren't there. At first, I just thought that I had misplaced them, but when cans and knives started showing up in random places, I started to pay more attention. My boyfriend also experienced the same things, and whenever he found the missing items, he just laughed them off. However, things started to change and took a turn for the worse when we decided to clean the backyard. We cut the grass, disposed of the trash, and decided to move the chair from the cabin. So my boyfriend picked it up and left it in front of the house to be collected along with other trash. After he placed them in front of the house, he told me he felt sick when he entered the cabin. I thought he was overreacting, but when I entered it, I immediately felt a heavy weight on my chest and a piercing headache. It was scary, so we said some prayers and used some incense when doing so. We thought everything would be okay now. My boyfriend had to leave for work, and I continued to stay in the house alone. I felt paranoid and ended up checking the cabin from time to time. I kept having a constant feeling that someone was watching me. I checked everywhere, but no one was there. I felt paranoid, and when my boyfriend returned home, we started hearing noises from outside. He thought it was a robbery since this area could get dangerous at night. We found nothing wrong apart from the fact that the chair was back in its original position inside the room. He got really mad when he saw it, thinking that some random punk was fooling around. He decided to grab the chair and decided to forcefully move it, but the panic on his face was evident when the chair wouldn't budge. For whatever reason, the chair was completely fixed to the ground. It wasn't like the chair was glued, more like there was someone or something sitting on it. No matter how hard he tried, it still wouldn't move. When I decided to say some prayers, a loud bang was heard and thousands of cockroaches emerged from the sewer. I'm terrified of cockroaches, so I couldn't help but run around in panic with my boyfriend following after. We forced ourselves to sleep in hope of everything going back to normal the next day. When we went outside the next morning, there were no traces of cockroaches and the chair was still in its place. The house seemed quiet and we started relaxing. I decided to grab some breakfast from the fridge. However, when I opened the fridge, I saw an image that I will never forget. All the food was full of maggots and it reeked of stench. Everything was almost decomposed, and I've never seen anything like that before. This level of decomposition could not happen in less than 12 hours in a perfectly fine working fridge. This was our last straw, and we collectively agreed to move anywhere else. Unfortunately, we've never experienced anything like that ever again. That instant still gives me the chills.